Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in chapter 12 of the Pancadashi, Brahmanande Atmananda, or the bliss of the self. And here, in the previous chapter, we saw Brahmanande Yogananda, where the topic was about the attention was brought to the Brahmananda, which is the infinite bliss. And that bliss is not one per person. It is the universal. It is, in fact, universal doesn't mean that the one which comes from the universe, but it is the substratum of the total. Everything is pervaded by that bliss. But everyone is not able to focus on the bliss. They are unable to wean themselves away from the Vishayananda and the Vasanananda. They are unable to. They find it difficult to wean away from the bliss of the objects, bliss of the sleep, bliss of the remembered bliss, and come to the Brahmananda. Then for what is the option then? Then here is one option for those people who are unable to practice the previous one, those people who find it difficult to focus on that infinite totality of bliss as their own essential nature. For them, now another way is given. Okay, you come to recognize the bliss of the self. Is Brahmananda not the bliss of the self? Yes, Brahmananda is the bliss of the self, but of the total self. Of the self also. It's nothing, it's just a different approach taken. So here the teacher begins, immediately he begins scolding in the first place. Scolding what? Nanve vam vasananandat Brahmanandadapitaram Vetu yogi nijanandam mudhasyatra gatihi. The student is asking, he is not scolding, will come later. First the student asks, he raises a doubt. And what is the doubt? Let a man of discrimination through yoga experience the bliss of the self, which is other than Vasanananda and Vishayananda. Here they have written wrong, Brahmananda. The bliss of the self, which is other than Vasanananda and Vishayananda. However, the sentence says Vasananandat Brahmanandat apiritam. Okay, Vasanananda and Brahmananda. However, what is the possibility of an ignorant seeker in getting this experience of the bliss of the self? Put special attention on the question of the student. He is asking, what is the possibility of an ignorant seeker in getting this experience of the bliss of the self? He is asking a generalized question, isn't it? What is the possibility what will happen to the ignorant people in the world? What is Vedanta? It is a subjective inquiry. It is not an objective inquiry. It is a slowly close the door slowly, please. So Vedanta is slowly. So Vedanta is a subjective inquiry where attention has to be on the self, not on the people. When our attention is on the people, when we say what will happen to the people, will they realize or not, how will they practice it? There on the sofa. Where will they sit? I am saying. If they ask, I have to find an answer to my problems. And many people come to us like that. They say, Swamiji, what if there is a person like this, or what will happen to those people who are, for example, what will happen to those people who have not got married and they are looking for something? Is it your problem or is it other people's problem? What will happen to those people who are, if the situation is so bad, they are not getting a job and they are finding it so difficult and the market is going down? Are you in that situation? No. Then whom are you asking for? See, what are you going to gain out of that question? Has God appointed you that you take care of the people of the world? Has God appointed you? He came and told you, ask the questions on behalf of the other people. In Vedanta, we are here for the self-realization and at the same time recognizing the whole everything, the waking world, dream world and the deep sleep world, nothing but an expression of that self alone. That is our disposition. So here the student is saying, now sir, you have explained in the previous chapter how this yogi, this tattvavit is able to enjoy the real ananda of Brahman, which is different from vasanananda of deep sleep and udasina avastha. Udasina avastha, an indifferent attitude towards the world. Let the yogi enjoy this bliss. But what will happen to the man of ignorance? What will happen to the stupid people? What will happen to the ignorant people? Is there no salvation possible for others? Arey Baba, think about your salvation. Don't worry about other people's salvation. No, how will people become devotees of the God? It's not your problem. Are you a devotee? Have you started taking the name of the Lord? Worried about other people taking the name of the Lord? The teacher replies, Dharma dharmavashadesha jayatam riyatam api punah punar deha lakshaihi kim no dakshinyato vada. He says that let the ignorant person under the influence of sinful and meritorious deed transmigrate through many lives. That is, he may be born and die repeatedly. What is achieved by our compassion? Please tell. How does it matter if he is born and he dies? If he doesn't want to learn, if other people don't want to come to study Vedanta or do meditation, what can you do? If someone doesn't want to go to the doctor and get a medicine, what can the doctor do? What can the doctor do? Doctor will only give medicine to the person who goes to him. And there are many more people who don't want to go to the doctor. Similarly, there are many people who know that they must pursue spirituality, that they must pursue God, they must pursue self-actualization, they must do meditation, they must get up in the morning, they must do yoga, etc., etc., etc. But how many do it? And if they don't do it, what can you do about it? Question is, are you doing it or not? If you are not doing it, then I can answer you, because question and answer or a solution can be given to a real person in front of you. Cannot be given to an imaginary person. This Mudha Purusha, the ignorant man about whom you express concern because of the righteous or unrighteous actions which he does, he is born again and again and goes through the cycle of births and deaths endlessly. There is no escape for him who considers himself to be limited, a Sukhi or a Dukhi, etc. So here a conclusion is given by the teacher. What is that? Those who are stupid, those who are ignorant, those who do not want to pursue self-realization or God realization, nothing can be done about it. They'll keep getting born again and again, not necessarily in the human life. They can be born in other yonis also, and they will continue to, in every life, they will continue to be happy and miserable, happy and miserable. Happiness also does not stay for a long time, misery also does not stay for a long time. And long time is relative. It can be, you can be happy for your whole life but miserable in the next, and you can be miserable in this life and happy in the next, or you can be happy and miserable both in one life. And this is how life expresses itself. For whom? For the ignorant people. Why? Because they consider themselves to be the body. That is why. And what are they really? They are the pure consciousness. They are the spirit. They are the Atma. And who are these ignorant? Whose attention is not on the Atma but is on everything else other than the Atma. Such are the foolish people. There is no use for our sympathy in his case. What can one do except to feel sorry for him? What can you do for such a person? Catch him by the ear. Come, sit in a class. Can you catch him by the ear and say, sit in meditation, otherwise you will suffer in this life and next life? You can't make anyone come. You can't make anyone take the name of the Lord if they don't want to. You can't make anyone sleep if they don't want to, for that matter. Forget about spirituality. The student is not convinced of this view and persists in his concern for the man of ignorance. Such examples have come to us also many times. I have seen it come, such examples come to Swami, my teacher also. Such examples have come to me also. Asti vonuji drukshutvad, asti vonuji drukshutvad, dakshinyena prayojanam, dakshinyena prayojanam, tarhi bruhi samudha kim, tarhi bruhi samudha kim, jignasurva parang mukha, jignasurva parang mukha. There is a lot of purpose attained through your compassion, O teacher, for you are ever desirous of blessing disciples. He is teaching the teacher, the student is telling the teacher what his job description is. Like in universities today, nowadays, in Australia, in schools and universities, the performance of the teacher is determined by collective vote of the students. Here, the student is deciding what should the teacher do and not do. Here he says, there is a lot of purpose attained through your compassion, for you are ever desirous of blessing disciples. To such a statement, then the teacher answers and inquires, is that is that ignorant person an extrovert or a dispassionate seeker of the truth? Please tell. Now, this person is an imaginary. Sometimes people come to us, the problem is theirs, but they make it into an imaginary situation. So, when you are, Vidyaranya Swami is correct, straight away challenging him. Tell me. So now he will go inside, think, what am I? Am I an extrovert or am I a seeker? And slowly, slowly he'll come to himself. Yeah. Because nobody wants to believe, nobody wants to accept that they are ignorant. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to accept that they are ignorant. And therefore this type of questions come. This again, the explanation. Sir, you alone can bless such a person. You alone can bless a person who is ignorant. But why should a teacher give someone water if he is not thirsty? Come, I will make the whole world realize. If that was possible, then so many Mahatmas are present in the world today. They could have made the whole world realize. But that choice is open. See, even in Satya Sai Baba, people came, and one person came with he was blind in eyes by birth, and he came to Baba, and he with deep faith and devotion, and there and then the eyes came back to him. Born blind, but the eyes came back. And another person came, he was lame, he came, the leg didn't become okay. Then the question was, why his eyes came and why his leg did not become healed again. If his eyes can come back, the leg should also become normal. Then Baba answers, it is not up to me, it's up to the student, up to the person. I am like a mirror. Whoever comes with me with whatever bhavana, whatever feeling, with whatever devotion, whatever faith, he comes, that gets reflected back. The one who had no eyes, he came with complete surrender, so he got it. This fellow he has come with, will it happen or will it not happen? It will not happen. See? So never doubt. Go with complete faith. He says, sir, you alone can best bless such a person. It is your responsibility, O teacher. Please do not say that sympathy is useless in such cases. You cannot thus absolve yourself of the responsibility to save such persons. The student is telling the teacher, you cannot escape from the responsibility of absolving these ignorant people and free yourself from such a responsibility. Try. So the teacher asks the student, what? Tarhi sah mudaha kim paran mukhaha jignasu va bruhi. He says, who is this ignorant person you are so concerned about? Please tell me. To what type does he belong? Is he a man? A man of ignorance can be of two types. One is jigyasu mudaha or paran mukha mudaha. So an ignorant person can be of two types. Jigyasu muda means he is dull-witted, his intellect is not so sharp, or he has not been exposed to that knowledge, but he wants self-realization. He wants liberation. This is Jigyasu Muda. And Paran Mukha Mudaha, the other ignorant is, he is still lost in the world. So Paran Mukha Muda is such a person who is totally selfish, totally self-centered, and his attention is only, I have to get this, I have to own this, I have to travel here, I have to see this part of the world, I have to see that part of the world, I have to make my body healthy, I have to do the. And other than the spirit, other than the self, his attention is on everything else. Such a person is Paranmukha Muda. Paranmukha Muda is lost in Vishayanand. Paranmukha Muda is the person who is lost in getting joy from the objects of the world. Objects of the world include not only the world but also imaginations, also memories, also thoughts, also ideas. This is Paranmukha Muda. And what is the other? The Jigyasu Mudaha. Jigyasu is Jigyasu means the one who is seeking, the one who is wanting to know. And as a result, this Jigyasu sometimes is caught up in Vishayanand, means joy from the bliss from the objects of the world. Sometimes he is lost in Vasananand, means sometimes he enjoys going to sleep or remembering the bliss of sleep or bliss of meditation. He has not reached the self but bliss of meditation. What is that bliss? Going to sleep in meditation and feeling that I went into meditation. That's all. Not self. But he wants to know. He wants to come back to himself. He wants to realize. But the impact of the objects and the impact of the sleep is so powerful that he is not able to come out of the clutches of the distractions. See? So he is able to withdraw himself from the world, Vishayanand. He is able to sit in meditation, but then the sleep takes over. How do I go ahead? See? Here a reference is given of Mundaka Upanishad, and it says there the student asks the teacher, "Oh teacher, please let me know, please I want to know, having known which nothing remains to be known in life." Such should be our inquiry in life. Then our life is fulfilled, will reach fulfillment. What is that by knowing which nothing else remains to be known? And there in Mundaka Upanishad, this question is asked by Nachiketa also to the Lord Death. Please tell me, what is that by knowing which there is nothing else to be known? A 6-year-old boy asks the Lord of Death. So here in Mundaka Upanishad, the teacher gives him that there is the knowledge is of two types, para and apara. Para is the transcendental knowledge, that is wisdom. Apara is the knowledge of the world. What is knowledge of the world? Knowledge of the world expresses itself in micro and macro. And that micro and micro includes gods, includes the various lokas, space, air, fire, water, earth, scriptures, Upanishads, Vedas, everything is included in this lower knowledge. And it is worthy to be discarded. It is worthy to be discarded. Then what are we doing? We take advantage of it, we take support of it, because scriptures are telling us, you reach the goal, meaning you, while studying, keep the attention on the self, and when that point comes, even discard us. Upanishads also tell us that. What can you drop? Can Can you drop something that you don't know? Can you drop something that you don't know? Can't. So you can only drop that you know. So what is that which is limiting me? What is that which is conditioning me? What is that which is making me into a limited being? Once I know I'm living in a default, but when we come to the scriptures say, oh, these are the things that are making you as an individual. This is how individuality has come. This is how totality has come. Once you know it, you can discard it. Right now we don't even know what we are made up of. Scientists are still searching. Vedas have already declared. So, based upon the disease, medicine is given, right? So these are the two patients. Which are the two patients? One who is totally involved in the world and seeking the bliss from the world, and the second one, the one who is sometimes flitting into Vasnananda and Vishayananda, but is not able to come and become steady in his own essential nature. Then the medicine to these two mindsets will be different. The teacher proceeds to explain the two approaches. Upastim karma va bruyad, upastim karma va bruyad, vimukhaya yathochitam, manda prajnam tu jigyasum, atmanandena bodhayet, atmanandena bodhayet. See, two things we must have. To know the reality, we must be sincere seekers, and the second, we must have the ability. What is ability? We want the truth, but can you handle the truth? A child is there. He's an orphan, and he's been taken into a family from just a few months later. And when he grows up, seeing the child, every child cannot be told that you are an adopted child. The parents try to prepare this, that, but if that child is not prepared, does not have the ability to handle, if he is an emotional child and he doesn't have the capacity, ability to handle that information that he is an adopted child, not the real child of the parents, what will happen to that child? Psychologically he will be affected, isn't it? Similarly, take another example. If this bulb is there, it can express say 50 watts of light. Electricity can express through the filament 50 watts of light. If I increase the wattage, what will happen to the bulb? If I increase the amount of electricity right now we have got 240 volts. Suppose it is made into 500 volts. What will happen to this bulb?
Fuse.
It will fuse. You are talking about this body, this mind and intellect is the filament. This is the bulb. And that filament is able to express at this moment only the individuality, which is a tiny, tiny speck of the infinite. And you want to realize the truth. You want to realize the spirit, which is infinite wattage. To express through this tiny filament, you have to increase the capacity of the mind and intellect to be able to absorb that infinite power when it reveals itself. That is spirituality. That preparation you have to do. It will not come by no, I want. It will not happen. You have to develop that mind capacity. And how do you develop by mind capacity? The mind, capacity of the mind, the ability of the mind, by making the mind think about the reality, by making the mind to think about the Lord to the exclusion of everything else. And the more mind can remain steady with the divine theme, the more mind can remain steady and undisturbed by the world, undisturbed by the guilds, undisturbed by the expectations, undisturbed by the projects. And for that, whatever time you are thinking about it, it's able to remain steadily thinking about it continuously in the and enjoying the bliss, not enjoying, and by being the bliss. Slowly, 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 the capacity of the mind, the lesser the thought waves in the mind, the more is the capacity of the mind to absorb that infinite power when it reveals itself. If there is no individuality, you have become the perfect, recipient in that sense. I don't want to use the word recipient, because you are that, mind becomes the recipient. So therefore, if we want to know the truth, we want to know permanent happiness, we must be sincerely looking for it, by being it, and we must continuously, and the ability that we have to develop is continuously be that, continuously be that, continuously be that. And that's what is told here in this verse. We are on the fourth verse, isn't it? Upastim karma va bruyad vimukhaya yathochitam manda prajnam tu jignasum atmanandena bodhayet. If the seeker of the truth is extrovert, he should be instructed to do karma or upasana. Karma is action and upasana worship and devotion in a proper manner. For whom is this instruction given to do karma and upasana? For a person who is extrovert. Who is an extrovert? Who still feels he is a product of this world. The world is the cause, I am the effect. He feels the world is very big and I am only a teeny mini fellow. He feels that the world dictates how he should or he should not behave in life. He feels he is the effect, a tiny effect of this big thing called the world. Things are out of his control. Such a person, and why is that mindset he has? Because he feels that what I see, hear, touch, feel, taste is real. The whole world is experienced through the five senses, and he feels this world is real. Because, yes, I can touch this. No, what you are touching is unreal. Then what is real? That which you can't even know, that is real. I don't think this is better because it is real for you. We have to shift our disposition. We have to have faith. If scriptures are saying that you are essentially the conscious principle, you are essentially the spirit. And how do I know the spirit? No, you cannot know. You have to vanish in order for spirit to reveal itself. Some people get scared. No, better I hold on to the computer. Better I hold on to that. At least it is real. What's the point of pursuing something that which I can never come to know? Because their attention is that when they say that what is the point of pursuing that which I cannot come to know? I cannot come to know. Objectively you cannot come to know. Subjectively you can come to know. So these two words are very important, subjective and objective. Objective is something that I experience as separate to me. Subjective is that which I experience as myself. Like we say, no, compassion is expression of love on another person by seeing their misery, isn't it? What is empathy? What is empathy? Empathy is your capacity to wear the shoes of that person and imagine how he could be feeling. That is not compassion. You imagine, oh, that person is, I can imagine what pain he must be going through, because you are imagining that if that pain was yours, what it would be like. In compassion, you give some chocolates and go away. In empathy, you feel the pain of the other, or you feel the joy of other. Empathy is when a mother feels the joy of her child. Compassion is when mother feels the joy of the other only to forget it. Mother feels the pain of her own child. That is empathy. If the child cries, she cries. If the child is happy, she is happy. Empathy. There is a connection. No words need to be said. Exactly the same way. When we have a connection with ourselves without any medium of communication. And what is the communication right now? Thoughts. When there are, in spite of thoughts, when we are connected to ourselves, that is realization. So, here he says, so these people, those who are extrovert, for them, karma and upasana. Karma again, what is the karma? So for those people who have taken the world to be real, what is the karma that they have to do? As it is given in Gita, what we are talking at outside the temple. First step, do the action, but don't expect a result. Second step, action is neither good or bad, but the attitude behind the action makes it good or bad, right? Third level, seeing that action is in inaction and inaction is in action. This happens gradually. Action is in inaction and inaction is inherent in the action. And the fourth stage, that action and inaction are going on all the time. I am someone separate to the activity that is taking place. This way we come to purify ourselves. Then begins the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And what is upasana? Upasana is bringing about a mind where it is able to continuously, without any distraction for a long period of time, able to chant the name of the Lord. Initially, people may start doing the pujas. Those pujas become manasik pujas, they become mental, they don't have to do everything. If the attention is on the God out there, you will keep doing the pujas. Just now someone asked me, Swamiji, I was doing the puja and someone came and disturbed me and I got so mad with that person that I don't know, and I should not behave like that. I am a seeker and I was so disgusted for 3 days I am not able to forget that. Why? Because I was doing the puja and how that person came without bath into the puja room. And don't they know that today is an important day that I am doing the puja? I said, you are ready to see the God in the statue in front of you, but you are not ready to see the Lord in the person, living person. That person, whether he takes shower or not, that is you are reacting to that person. That person is old, they are demanding something, they are 90 years old, they want a tea, whatever, they have got aches and pains and everything. So you are so stubborn and insisting that puja is more important, but that simple demand of that person that please give me a tea in front of that statue, that living person's demand who is 90 years old, their demand becomes that it is a disturbance. You want to escape. This is hypocrisy. Our attention is on the end. Oh, I feel so good. The what do you call the incense stick, the lamp, the various fragrances of the flowers. Ah, it feels so nice. I have done a wonderful puja. Oh, it's so blissful. It is so spiritual. That is not spiritual. Spiritual. That activity can become spiritual only when your attention is on the self. When your attention is on the divine, then that activity has become spiritual. And if you have become spiritual, then there will be no reaction to the outside world. You will be at peace with yourself. But we do the upasana in a very wrong manner, thinking it is our, no, the whole world should not disturb. World is going to continue be the same. It will keep disturbing you. It will keep disturbing you. And a person who has learned this lesson and remains undisturbed by the world, that person while doing puja of the Lord, it has happened, I have seen many people, they stop doing the puja. Instead of outside act puja, it goes into their mind and mentally they are doing the puja of the Lord. See? Now they don't need the outside paraphernalia in order to remember the Lord. The Lord has entered into their mind. They are doing the puja of the Lord in their mind. Then after that, then doing the puja also is a disturbance, because you have in the mind you have to do this action or that action, you have to take the Lord, you have to clothe the Lord, this, that. No, now you want to remember the Lord continuously without any other thought. The third stage in this puja comes as japa sadhana. And that japa sadhana then has 4 stages. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. So first it's the loud chanting, then it is the lip chanting, then it is the throat chanting, then it is no chanting, and then that energy, that sound goes back to its source through the Kundalini to the Sahasrara. Into the conscious silence. But we get lost in the pujas, we get lost in the worldly things. Those who are caught up in the world, for them, karma, yoga and upasana. Then what are the other type? If the seeker is dull-witted but dispassionate and desiring to know the self, he should be instructed about the bliss of self. This is the second type of student. Remember, he said one was the Jigyasu and the other was Paranmukha. So Jigyasu is the one now we are talking about. Paranmukha is who needs to do karma and upasana depending upon the diagnosis. And for the Jigyasu, Mudaha, for him the solution is that if the seeker is dull-witted but dispassionate and desiring to know the self, he should be instructed about the bliss of self. That instruction is required. How to catch? He is sitting in meditation, but he is going to sleep. He is going into Vasanananda. How he can bypass the sleep and come to the bliss of the self, the Brahmananda? Now the Swamiji's commentary. For those who are Paranmukha, that is, those who are preoccupied with external things, instead of being turned within towards their own being, who are seated on the senses and therefore cannot have the vision within, for such extrovert seekers, two methods are considered suitable. One is Karma Yoga and the other is Upasana. We have already explained. When the individual takes his life experiences and events as effects, then he is bound to look for the cause. When he takes the events in his life as effects, what are we taking in our life everything as? Marriage is an effect, or is it a grace? Are we taking our parents as effect? That they are the cause and I am the effect. No, so I am the effect and they are the cause. Or are we taking, or is our attention on the Lord? That Lord, by your grace I was born in this family and they are given, I got the right samskaras and the environment so that I am able to come to this point in my life where I am able to, I am, that by your grace I am interested in knowing myself. Science, today's science is searching for cause, for everything. What is the cause? What is the cause? This is the effect, what is the cause? And they reach the space and they reach the quarks and they, whatever, you know better than all the terminology. But in Vedanta we don't look for a cause. Cause is only in matter. Cause and effect is nothing but manifestation and unmanifestation. And it can happen only in the not self. In Vedanta, the basic premise is that everything is of the nature of divine. Everything is of the nature of pure consciousness. But I am not feeling it that way. You don't know that, that's all. A wave doesn't know that it is the infinite waters. But what is the wave made up of? Nothing but the infinite waters. Similarly, if we are a wave, in and through, that infinite consciousness is expressing, but we don't know that. Is wave anything else other than water? No. Then why do we call it a wave? Because it has a beginning and an end. Why do we call an ornament when in and through it is nothing but gold? Because it has a particular shape. It has got a utility value. It has got a utility value. A pot, in and through it is mud. Then why don't we call it mud? Why do we call it pot? Because that pot has a utility value. Similarly, consciousness frozen in time and space is called this structure. Like an ice cube is water frozen is called ice cube. Similarly, consciousness, pure consciousness frozen in time and space as if, not really it cannot happen, but as if, is called this structure, this individual. Actually it is pure consciousness. Start melting yourself, start melting the ice cube, what will it find? That it is water. When the ice cube becomes water, the surface area of the ice cube is only that much. Water surface area is that same amount of H2O in the ice cube. When it melts and becomes water, its surface area is much more than that ice cube. Continue melting or heating, doing tapasya, that water becomes water vapor. The surface area is much more than the ice cube and the water combined. So the rule here is, the subtler we become, the more expansive we become. Water is subtler than the ice, it is more expansive. Water vapor is subtler than the water, it is even more expansive. Similarly, if we think we are the body, we are only this much expansive. If we think we are the mind, we are more expansive. If the mind is free of all mindsets, it is infinitely expansive. And that is the capacity and the ability of the mind. Nothing is impossible in the relative world, nothing is impossible in this world for the mind to express. You can catch, go into past, future, whatever. But that is not our goal. Our goal is to go to the truth, to go to the substratum, to go to that principle because of which even the mind is functioning. Meaning the thoughts are functioning. So when the individual takes his life experiences and events as effects, then he is bound to look for the cause with reference to his individuality, gati, agati, progress and failure, etc. Such an individual considers himself to be limited and therefore constantly endeavors to draw out happiness from worldly things. He is interested in Vishayananda. So right now you are getting joy from the satsang. After this, joy from food. After that, joy from sleep. After that, joy from waking up. After that, joy from shower. After that, joy from going to toilet. After that, breakfast. Continuously we are seeking joy from something, isn't it? This is Vishayananda. When we realize that the joy is my essential nature, as we saw in the previous chapter, that joy is not in the objects. What happens? Remember? That when we have a desire for something, that object is gained. The moment that object, that desire is fulfilled, the mind becomes calm. The desire for that object goes away. The moment mind becomes empty, the bliss, which is your essential nature, it reveals itself in that mind and you feel happy. But instead of recognizing that it is my nature to be, my nature is happiness, because of our extroverted life, we start thinking that satisfaction of the desire by gaining that particular object, the bliss is in that object. And this is a very perverted life, where we are seeking joy from the various objects of the world. For such an individual, the scriptures prescribe karma and upasana. These two together bring discipline in his participation in the worldly transactions and gradually turn his mind to something subtler. Subtler means finer. Ice cube was gross, water was subtle. Then compared to water vapor is subtle and water is gross. Manda prajnanam jignasum tu atmanandayana bodhayet. Now this is the second type, the jigyasu mudha. As regards the second type, who is not interested in worldly things anymore, who really wants to know the truth, but his instrument through which the truth is to be known, that is the intellect, prajna, is dull, is mandam. To him, the instruction is to draw his attention to Atmananda, to the bliss of the Atma. For whom? For a person who is searching but he is not able to find, he is hitting in all different directions. He does the upasana, he takes the name of the Lord, he sits in meditation, but he is not hitting the bullseye. He is not hitting the bullseye. For such a person, the instruction of Atmananda is given. Why can't you give it to the previous person? We can, but he will not understand anything. Because it requires a certain dispassion, it requires a certain degree of detachment from the objects of the world in order to appreciate the instructions also. To a child, you cannot give the instruction of E is equal to mc square. For him, 2 ones are 2, 2 to the 4 is enough. Even a smaller child, 1, 2, 3, 4, he's so happy. One child comes to the Sanskrit class, he came yesterday, no, last Sunday, and he wrote, he told his sister, I want to come to the class. I said, oh, she said, come. And he got his book and pencil and rubber, and his sister is studying the Sanskrit. Young girl, 13 years old, and the boy is only 3.5, 4 years old. And he is just making arrows after arrows after arrows. I said, if you have come to the class, you have to study. He said, I don't know what my sister is studying. Very naughty. I said, okay, what do you know? I know ABCD. I said, then write down ABCD. Then he wrote A, B. I said, show me. I don't believe. I want to see. I will give you marks. He brought it A, B, C, D. And then I said, you know after this? Yes, I know. Then write. And on my lap itself, he wrote right up till Z. And between the lines, 4-year-old, between the lines. I said, what else do you know? I know 1, 2, 3. Okay, go and write 1, 2, 3. How much do you know? Then he made his sister draw the lines and he wrote up till 100. See? But that is his. He has not come to the tables yet. 2 ones are 2, 4 ones are 4. No. But if you give that information without 1, 2, 3, 4, will he be able to understand it? No. So, only that must be given to a person that that person can digest, isn't it? So this information that is being given to the seeker cannot be given to a person who is extrovert. First he needs to purify. He must become single-pointed. He must become purified. He must become steady. In him, this urge to know himself, or the urge, the yearning, the thirst to merge into the divine, until and unless that is not invoked, till then this instruction will have no meaning to him. As regards the second type, who is not interested in worldly things anymore, who really wants to know the truth, but his instruments through which the truth is to be known, the intellect is dull. To him, the instruction is to draw his attention to the Atmananda. So he knows, this second Jigyasu, the seeker, he knows how to withdraw from the world consciously. He has got his senses under his control. He has got his mind also to a large extent under his control. Only thing is, he is not understanding where do I go after this. Because he keeps falling into Vasanananda. Keeps falling into sleep. Or he goes into void. Experiences void and comes out. That is not meditation. That is Jada Samadhi. So to such a seeker who has already got the acumen of withdrawing from the world, to such a seeker this instruction is given. In the previous chapter, the discussion was on how Brahmananda alone is experienced in deep sleep and also manifests as Vishayananda and Vasanananda in the waking state. The method to drop these two and focus one's attention on the unlimited conscious bliss, that is one's essential nature, was also detailed. But no reference was made to the individual personality or to Atmananda. Here the teacher says that for he who is dull, who cannot comprehend what was said in the previous chapter, the method is to bring his attention to his own essential nature, Atmananda. So, we are going through steps. First we come to the Atma. What is Atma? Consciousness expressing through one body, one mind, one intellect. What is Brahmananda? Again, example. Water expressing through the total what? Total, uh, what do you call? Totality of waves, totality of tides, totality of wells, totality of lake, totality of droplets, totality of foam, totality of water vapors is Brahmananda. What is Atmananda? Water expressing through a conditioning of one drop. Water expressing through a conditioning of one wave. What is wave? It has a beginning and an end. It has a shape. Water is still infinite, but now it is expressing through that one and got identified with it. When it gets identified, it is called individuality. When it is disidentified, it is called Atmananda. When this Atmananda recognizes that it is the infinite, it is called Brahmananda. Similarly, pure consciousness is infinite. When it expresses through total conditionings, it is called Ishvara or God. When it is expressing through individual conditionings, one body, one mind, one intellect, it is called individual. When it is expressing through total bodies, total mind, total intellect, it is called Ishvara or Ishvara, or who expresses eventually as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Or we can just use it as God, the word God. So our journey is first to withdraw, come to who we really are. Who are we really? The consciousness. First recognize the consciousness within yourself that you are not the body, you are not the breath, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. Why? The body is continuously changing, the breath is continuously changing, emotions are continuously changing, thoughts are continuously changing, concepts are continuously changing, but you have ever remained the same. From childhood till today, you don't feel that you have changed. You always say, I have grown. Means the body has grown. You don't say I, I has grown. When you take I to be the body, then you feel I has grown. I am miserable. When you take your I to be identified with the mind, then joys and sorrows are experienced. But when you take the I, when you be the I without any attachments, then it is Atmananda. So our sadhana is, as a seeker, only to keep bringing our attention again and again to this essential nature of ours, which has never become absent, which ever is. It is that because of which the mind thinks. It is that because of which the mind feels. It is that because of which the nose breathes. It is that because of which the senses see, hear, touch, feel, taste. It is that because of which a body is called dead. Catch that fellow. Who is missing? Coming to that principle is coming to the Atmananda. How this is done is explained by quoting the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Bodhayamasa Maitreyim Yajnavalkyo Nijapriyam Nava are patyurarthe Pati Priya Itirayan The sage Yajnavalkya revealed the bliss of self to his dear wife Maitreyi, explaining by words like, the husband is not dear for the sake of husband, etc. Yajnavalkya Nijapriyam Maitreyim. Sage Yajnavalkya decided to renounce the world and engaged himself in Adhyatmika sadhana, and therefore divided his property between his two wives, Gargi and Maitreyi. Uh, while Gargi accepted it, Maitreyi said to her husband Yajnavalkya, I want that for which you are giving up everything. I want that for which you are giving up all your wealth, and therefore it must be more valuable than this wealth. See? So I shall also give up my share of the wealth and go with you. See? Chandogya Upanishad, Yajnavalkya and Maitreya question answers come. Chandogya Upanishad. So she says that for which you are giving up all your wealth must be more valuable. So I will also give up my share and follow you, because I also want that valuable wealth which you are seeking. It must be more valuable, that's why you are giving up the worldly wealth. So the Yajnavalkya to that Maitreyi, who had developed a sufficient degree of dispassion but was not yet qualified to contemplate on the infinite truth, the absolute, being Manda Prajna, because she has just 1 moment ago she has left the world, the wealth that was given to her. She still doesn't know what he is searching, what he is giving up everything for. But she knows, I will go for that what my husband is going for, because it must be more valuable. But what is it? That she doesn't know. Sometimes we sit in the meditation, we also don't know what we are searching for. Bullseye is not known. We just know empty mind. Well, empty mind is not the goal of meditation. Realizing yourself as the infinite consciousness is the disposition that is required. Otherwise, empty the mind. You have empty mind in sleep also. What's so great if you sit and sleep? That is not the goal. So here they are giving this example to show Manda Prajna, a dull intellect. So she has given up all the wealth, she has given up her attachment, but she still doesn't know what is that which she needs to pursue, what she should put her attention on. She doesn't know that yet. Yet, being Manda Prajna, yet very dear to Yajnavalkya, the following Upadesha was given by Yajnavalkya to his wife Maitreyi. He said, the love of wife for her husband is not for his sake was given. Now he will start explaining now. The total import of the Upadesha is given in the following shloka. Patirjaya putra vitte, Patirjaya putra vitte, Pashu Brahmana Bahujaha, Pashu Brahmana Bahujaha, Loka Deva Veda Bhute, Loka Deva Veda Bhute, Sarvam Chatmarthata Priyam, Sarvam Chatmarthata Priyam. All the things and beings such as husband, wife, son, wealth, cattle, brahmanas, kshatriyas, the 14 worlds, gods, Vedas, the 5 great elements, etc. are dear for the sake of the self and not for the sake of those objects themselves. We don't love a person for the sake of that person. We love a person because it gives joy to me. Like I keep the camera on not for the sake of camera. I keep the camera so that for my sake, because I want to see myself, isn't it? We eat the food not for the sake of the food. We eat the food because I feel the satisfaction. It is for my sake. So whatever relationship we have in this world, whether with parents, whether with children, whether with wife, whether with husband, cousins, uncles, grandfathers, objects of the world, governments, scriptures, the Swargaloka, Tapoloka, Janaloka, Satyaloka, Vaikuntha, Kailash, everything is for the sake of this I. It is not for the sake of, not, oh, I want to come to Kailash. What does Shiva care? It is for your sake. Any relationship, because you feel incomplete, so you create a relationship so that you can fill up that incompleteness within yourself. Fill up that emptiness. And that emptiness, even if the whole universe is put into you, still that emptiness will remain empty. There is only one way that emptiness within our heart can fill: by realizing yourself, by coming to recognize that I am basically, essentially, always complete. See? To this regards, the relevant mantra in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is a long one, but its conclusion is what is stated in this shloka. 12 examples are given to illustrate that everything is loved in this world only for one's own sake, such as husband, wife, son, wealth, animals, brahmanas, kshatriyas, various lokas, all the 7 lower lokas and the 7 higher lokas, all 14 lokas. Lokas meaning the field of experience. Don't imagine that there is something like that. Like Devaloka, Swargaloka, etc., various gods, the Vedas, the Pancha Mahabhutas, all these things are loved not for their sake but for one's own sake. We don't want to go to heaven for the sake of heaven. We want to go to heaven for our sake. I want to be happy. The terrorists, they are killing. Why? Because if they fight for that cause, they will go to their so-called heaven and they will get the virgins there. That is why they are fighting. But is it for someone else? No. I will get that present. Everything that we do or don't do in life is for our sake. This is taking responsibility. This is coming to the crux of everything. No excuses. Once you study Vedanta, your capacity to complain is taken away from you. Not by anyone. It is presented that you are responsible for your situations in life. You are responsible for your mind. You are responsible for the way you are looking at the world. If you are seeing the world as separate to you, it's your problem. If you see the world as an expression of the self, fantastic. Only you can bring about that change. I keep telling again and again, pessimist looks at this world and sees only problems and challenges. Optimist lives in the same world, he sees only opportunities. A realized master lives in the same world and he sees only perfection. So where is the difference? Not in the world, it is in how you are approaching what is your mindset. One has a pessimistic mindset, one has a optimistic mindset, and the realized master, he has no mind, no mindset. His mind is like a mirror, sees everything as divine. See?
All relationship is for our sake or my sake, that my qualifies for what is jiva, is it?
Yes, jiva, individual. At this moment, it is the individual. So recognize We come across so many people, oh, I have to do for this for the child, I have to do that for the wife, I have to do that for the husband, I have to do that for the community, I have to do that. If it is an unstoppable thing, you cannot do anything about it. But even while doing it, recognize that everything is for the sake of world doesn't demand your action. World doesn't demand your action. You act. Alright, action happens out of you, depending upon whatever your mindset is. And whatever action you are doing, there is always a result. What is that result for? Is it for the world? Or is it for yourself? See? We go and plant the trees. World Planting Day. You go and plant 100 trees. Did you plant for the world? Did you plant it for the earth? Or did you plant it for yourself? This is the question. You did something good for another person. Did you do that good for that person, or you did that good for yourself? Oh, it is the right thing to do. Yes, but for whom? For whom it is the right thing to do? For you. Who feels at peace with themselves by doing that action of doing good to others, by action of planting the trees? Who feels the contentment? Not the tree, you feel the contentment. You go and serve a person who is miserable in the hospital or wherever. He may be miserable or he may not be miserable, but you feel the contentment that I did the seva, isn't it? Yeah. So it is for you. So all actions, when our attention is not on the world, when our attention is on here the scripture, Brahmanande is making us open our eyes to this truth, that every action that takes place, every interaction that takes place, every anger, greed, jealousy, love, compassion, empathy, all these are also actions at the mental level. All of them are not for the sake of the world, they are for our own sake. I get angry not to make other people angry. I get angry because once that anger goes out, I can be at peace. Because without expressing, how can I be at peace? That is the mindset. So everything that we do in life, every interaction that we have in life is only, in fact, the whole world is not for its sake, it is for the sake of the self. Every relationship is for the sake of the self. When you take it like this, then there is a possibility of detachment. If you don't take it like this, no way you can get detached. Why? You are taking the world to be real. How will your attention go back to the self? Acha, it is for the self. Now what is this self then? Now the inquiry can come. Begin. In this way, for a Jigyasu who is dispassionate but of dull intellect, this Atmananda is the locus where Brahmananda is revealed over to the seeker by the teacher. So what is that because of which thoughts are coming? What is that because of which the emotions come and go? What is that because of which the senses function? What is that because of which the speech comes and goes? What is that because of which the body is called a living body? What is that life principle? Now you are talking about. So he was searching, but he was not knowing that Jigyasu. Now the teacher says everything is for the self. What is that self? Everyone knows their self as what? As I, isn't it? Get focused on the I. Is it not being selfish? No, it is not being selfish. Start. Selfishness is only when you think of the world and instead of doing something for the world, you think you're doing it for yourself. Here you're not doing anything for yourself. By coming back to the self, your goal is not only to satisfy this individuality, that is selfishness. Coming to the I is recognizing that the whole universe is nothing but an expression of I alone, of that self alone. That is realization. Now the teacher takes the examples given above one by one and explains them in shlokas 7 to 19. What are the examples? The husband, the wife, the son, the wealth, the animals, brahmanas, kshatriyas, the 14 lokas, space, air, fire, water, earth. All these examples, how we take them, how interacting with them is only for the sake of the self. These examples will be taken in our next class, which will be next Wednesday. We'll conclude here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Just sit quietly for 2-3 minutes.